which is why health coaches came about, because doctors don't have all of the time to focus so much on doing the dirty work kind of and digging deep, right? This food that I'm picking up, is it made by nature? Is it made by God? Or is it made by man? So if you don't want to kind of pay attention too much to the grams, look at the ingredients and make sure that sugar isn't towards the top of the list. The gut microbiome, first of all, it's also considered another organ nowadays. It's something that previously we didn't really consider as an organ, but now we are. What is it? It's millions and millions of bacteria which feed the body's system. So they make the brain work, they make the body work. I think it's really important to start small and to build up slowly on that.
Jiena Klera Ġusordwi, naħdem fuq it-televiżjoni u anke fil-medja soċjali. Passjoni kbira l-fitness u dak kollu li jista' jgħinna biex inħossuna tajbin mentalment u fiżikament. Dak kollu li nitgħallem, nirriċerka u nistaqsi ser inkun qed niddiskutih ma' professjonisti u nies b'esperjenzi li ser jagħtuna għodda li nistgħu nużaw biex ngħixu ħajjitna bl-aħjar mod possibbli. Podcast ieħor issa qabadna r-ritmu sew, qed nieħdu pjaċir ħafna bil-kummenti tagħkom, bis-suġġerimenti tagħkom u nitolbukom biex tiqgħu tibagħtuhomna fuq il-paġni tal-medja soċjali tagħna. Permezz tagħkom qed niskopru suġġetti ġodda wkoll u għalhekk nieħdu pjaċir bis-suġġerimenti anke bin-nies li qed tgħidulna dwarhom u l-pjan huwa li nibqgħu sejrin għaliex qed nieħdu pjaċir li ħafna qed tirrelataw ma' diversi podcasts, ġieli sibu dak interessanti iktar mill-ieħor u l-podcast tal-lum fil-fema tiegħi u interessanti ħafna u għandi ġen biex nagħmlu għaliex huwa suġġett illi intom taf ħafna l-istorja li jiena dejjem bdejt nisma' il-podcasts minn ftit ta' snin ilu u meta nkun qed nisma' podcast tant nibda nieħu pjaċir b'dak li qed nitgħallem illi nkun nixtieq dejjem hekk ngħidilhom li d-dinja kollha tisma' li nkun qed nisma' jien u bekk beda l-idea ta' Reboot fil-verità u dan is-suġġett li ħanitkellmu dwaru huwa proprju fuq hekk. Illum dan sirt familjari miegħu permezz ta' podcast u ħadd pjaċir meta sibt il xi ħadd ta' Malta illi jifhem proprju fuq dan is-suġġett. Illum ser nitkellmu fuq functional medicine, anke qed ngħidilkom x'inhu wkoll. Magħna għandna lil Liza Martin hija functional medicine health coach. Xogħla huwa li toħloq pjana għal min jixtieq bidla fl-imġiba għas-saħħa fiżika u għas-saħħa mentali. Meta tkun qed tikkrea pjan tistudja sew l-imġiba holistika, kemm fl-ikel, fl-eżerċizzju, fl-irqat, l-istress fil-ħajja u affarijiet li juru l-mod ta' kif qed jgħix dak li jkun. U minn hemm imbagħad isir pjan ġdid. Tiġi konsultata wkoll minn organizzazzjonijiet biex tagħti talks fuq functional medicine u positive psychology. Liza, grazzi ħafna tal-li oġbok tiġi, kif inti?
I'm very well, thank you.
Liza, wkoll ħad titkellem bl-Ingliż għax hija iktar komda għaliex anke hemm ħafna kliem tekniku li huwa aktar faċli biex titkellmu bl-Ingliż tifhimni sew bil-Malti, imma ħanibdew propju mill-bidu minti qabel ma ġejt familjari mal-functional medicine x'kont tagħmel?
So I've been a project manager for a number of years. I still am, so I do both jobs concurrently, pero this is my focus and where I'd like to, really grow at the moment. So at the moment I am a functional medicine health coach part-time, pero with the idea that I grow within the organization where I operate and take it full-time, hopefully one day.
X'inhu functional medicine?
All right, so functional medicine.
Take your time, għax it's such an interesting subject li vera nixtieq li jifhmu.
And that's why I was so excited when you contacted me, because I really want to bring the message across, because it's not something many people are familiar with. And I'm like you, I heard about it for the first time on a podcast. So functional medicine is very different to what we know as conventional medicine nowadays. So conventional medicine, I would say, is a symptoms-based approach, meaning you would go to your doctor and you would say, I have this, this, and this. And usually that doctor would prescribe medication to tackle those symptoms that one person could have. When it comes to functional medicine, it works a little bit differently. I would say almost opposite, in the sense that there's a lot of work which goes on in the background, a lot of detective work, which is why health coaches came about, because doctors don't have all of the time to focus so much on doing the dirty work kind of and digging deep, right? So there's a lot of detective work which goes on in the background, and the idea is to try to understand what the root cause of the problem is, right? And usually all of those symptoms relate to a particular disease or ailment which any one person could have, right? Issa, within functional medicine, we also have what is called the functional medicine matrix, and that is used by functional medicine GPs and functional medicine health coaches as well. And what that is criteria, basically. They're modifiable personal lifestyle factors. The functional medicine matrix is composed of 5, and those are what you would imagine they are, right? So nutrition, physical movement, sleep, management of stress, and management of relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean any type of relationships, not between, partners. And what functional medicine tries to do is it tries to get to the root of these personal modifiable factors to see what the situation is of that person, how they're living their lives, and whether there is anything that they can do to improve their lives, right? That's not to say that in functional medicine there is no actual medicine, right? If somebody needs medicine, somebody needs medicine. It's not kind of against it, because many people have that idea. It's not the case. Dr. Mark Hyman, who is one of the founding fathers of functional medicine, I watched a podcast of his this week, and he said it well. He said, let me see if I get the quote right. So he said, if your diet is bad, medicine is of no use. Meaning,
it's true.
Right? If your diet is good, medicine is of no need. So that's talking about preventative care. If somebody is really sick, then the combination of functional medicine and conventional medicine can really help someone.
So basically, din hija daqsxejn diskutibbli fis-sens li jiena naf xittajt għax nħobb ħafna s-suġġett, imma għall-argument jekk jiena mmurant tabib għax għandi uġieħ ta' ras, jekk jiena mmurant xi ħadd li jifhem fil-functional medicine, mhux ħajaqbad jgħid li jara mel inti tittieħu 2 paracetamol. Le, ħa nipprova nifhem għalfejn għandek dak l-uġieħ ta' ras.
Where is it coming from? Now, headaches are very complex. I would say headaches and insomnia.
Bħala eżempju at night.
Because it's very difficult to understand what the root cause is. But yes, if you had to go to a functional medicine practitioner, who's not me, by the way, I'm not a GP, I'm a health coach, so I would work closely with a GP. That person would ask you a lot of questions to try to understand how you live your life, because that person would believe that it's coming from somewhere, right? And they wouldn't want to kind of treat the symptom which is coming out of what the root cause is, right? So they try to understand where is it coming from and how can we tackle that problem.
Okay, is inti provajta fuqek din il-ħaġa?
Yes. So I would say my journey started back in 2009. I myself was much heavier. I had a lot of brain fog, very anxious. Don't get me wrong. I still now and then suffer from anxiety and brain fog, especially if I don't eat well. Pero I really found that through practicing functional medicine at that time, I didn't even know that is what I was doing, meaning I was trying to modify the way that I was living. I was getting better. And now in my work, in my professional work, I can see that happening with clients as well, with patients as well.
So x'kien it-turning point mbagħad li bdejt tistudja u sibt kemm taħdem din il-ħaġa?
Okay, so again, going back to 2009, I started to get into fitness and I started to feel very addicted in a good way to the feeling that you get when you work out, and not even the results, when you feel switched on, when your mind feels switched on. And then the losing weight came as a kind of repercussion of that, even though I was wanting to lose weight, but really I realized that my brain was, I was being switched on. I got addicted to that feeling. I started to get very interested in chemically what that means, and I started to listen to a lot of podcasts, and I love to read books, the cliche personal development books, which I don't care if they're cliche because I love it. And listening to podcasts, and I came across a podcast by, I think you listened to him as well, Tom Billier, who was speaking with Dr. Mark Hyman, who is the founding father of functional medicine, and he was talking about functional medicine and health coaches and how they're kind of revolutionizing the way that doctors work in the States. And I said, let me look it up. And I did. And I signed up for this course in my mind, not thinking that maybe eventually I would be practicing, just because I was interested in the subject. And I kind of never looked back from then. And things happened.
Jiena nħobb ngħidhom daw, nħobb nsemmi podcast Mark Hyman għandu dan il-podcast tiegħu li jekk tibda tisimgħu, jien dejjem ngħid jekk inti tibdel ħajtek, jekk inti tagħmel pass, trid iddawwer lilek innifsek. Taqra letteratura, tisma' podcasts b'nies li qed jgħixu dik il-ħajja fejn tixtieq tmur int. U Mark Hyman jekk inti tibdel l-ikel tiegħek u tifhem iktar huwa l-podcast adattat għax jintervista ħafna nies interessanti. Nistgħu nikkuraw lilna nfusna bl-ikel?
Okay, so kind of is food medicine, right? So as I said, one of the main criteria of functional medicine on the matrix, it's nutrition, right? So the westernized diet is unfortunately impoverished of nutrients. So that results in inflammation and results in a lot of chronic disease, which we see nowadays. In functional medicine, when we talk about food, we talk about food from 4 perspectives. So number 1, food is medicine. And I'll get back to this. Food is energy, food is information, and food is connection. When we talk about food is medicine, there's a new field in science called, let me get this right, nutritionogenics. And basically it talks about the relationship between food and the expression of genes, right? So, and how choosing the right food will allow the positive expression of genes, whereas choosing not the right food, or having a poor diet, which is not rich in nutrients, results in poor gene expression. What does this mean? This means that things are not the way that we have historically known them to be, thinking, if my mom has this, if my dad has this, possibly I get this as well. We have the potential, we have the trigger in our hands we have the potential to be able to change what our futures will look like through food. And other things as well, which we can get into later on. But the point is that if we choose to nourish ourselves with good food, then what we're doing is signaling positive gene expression. And that is obviously the opposite of chronic disease.
Eżatt, fil-verità u dan Dr. Mike Hyman jien dik liktar li laqtitni jien dejjem ngħid nista' tmut ta' żgħira, nista' jiġri xi ħaġa inti xejn mhu predictable, imma l-lan tiegħi għalfejn jien nipprova kemm nista' mhux il-ħin kollu tarx nikol minn kollox at the end of the day, ma jien nipprova nimxi mal-80-20. Allura 80% of the time I'm eating well. Biex jiena ikolli a good health span, ġifieri kemm ngħix, issa jista' jkun ma ngħix ħafna, imma dak li ngħix, ngħixu tajjeb li nkun nista' nħossib tiegħi innifsi. Qisu investiment. U da tibdih nissa. Issa kieku kelli nistaqsi, kieku kellek tagħti il-parir lil min qed jisma'na. Hekk. Above your head, isma' x'jista' jżomm f'moħħu meta jiġi biex jażel x'sa jiekol?
Okay, that's a really good question. And I have to say as well that I'm like you. I struggle as well every day. It's a decision every day. And we're a constant work in progress. I get it. And I don't kind of want to be here telling people, speaking to people as if I am the all-knowing, at the time infallible. I am like everybody else.
Dan il-podcast ma kienx ikun possibbli mingħajr Loaf GI. Ħobs Loaf GI, l-aktar ħobża bnina fi gżiritna, isiba biss fil-ħwienet tal-Maypole. Team Sport, il-post fejn isib l-aqwa brand sportivi bħal Diadora u Under Armour u l-aqwa ditti ta' żraben, sukoni u ħoka fost oħrajn. Isibuhom liklin u birkirkara. Hypro, prodotti mammolin bi proteina biżżejjed biex tikkumplimenta d-dieta tiegħek ta' kuljum u li ser jgħinuk fit-training li tagħmel biex tgħix ħajja aktar b'saħħitha. Gulon, gallettini bla zokkor b'toma bnina. Natru, ħalib plant-based b'ingredjenti naturali biss mingħajr zokkor miżjud. Fior di Vita, għal varjetà kbira ta' ġobnijiet.
We are like everybody else, it's a daily struggle.
L-iktar ma tiġin xi ġurnata niko l-ikel
Eżatt.
Jien l-antijaj taf xinu Liza korreġini jien ngħid għaddit tiġrina u ġili kollok bżonn, jisu l-ġisem ikollu bżonn ċertu, ikel jiena kien ħossa. L-importanti li terġa' lura.
Exactly. And the important thing is that most of the time you're kind of on the right track. If you fall off, jekk tiżgarra every now and then, it's not going to, break you.
Eżatt. Kieku kellek tażelek, ngħidlek isma' qabel ma nażellik jiena x'parir itti.
I tell you kind of what I do. And also what I discuss with clients. So when I'm doing my shopping, okay, if I'm at the farmer's market, I have no choice. It's whole food, right? Because I like to go to the farmer's market. But if I'm in a supermarket, I will ask myself, okay, this food that I'm picking up, is it made by nature? Is it made by God? Or is it made by man? And I try to fill my shopping cart with things which are made by nature and not by man. Meaning I try to choose the whole foods and not the processed foods. That's not to say, obviously, nowadays it's hard. You will, pick some processed foods as well. So when you do that and you pick, for example, a can of something or a bag of something, I would say a good tip would be to look at the ingredients on the back and to see what they say. So if there are a lot of words which you cannot pronounce, usually it's not a good sign.
Vera.
Usually it's not a good sign. Also, another tip is that when you're reading the ingredients, if sugar is towards the top of the list, meaning it's the first, the second, or the third ingredient, fourth, fifth, that means that package is mostly composed of that ingredient, which is sugar.
Sugar, eżatt. Am I right jekk ngħid, isma' jekk għandek 100 grams, at least try to go not above 5 grams of sugar per 100?
That is what I try to do myself as well. And I'm not a nutritionist, so I want to say that as well. But as a health coach, I can, we've done the studying as well. This is what I try to base it on as well. If you don't want to get into what the grams look like, this is an easier way. You look at the ingredients and you say, how many of those end in OSE, which is sugar has 300 different names. So they try to conceal them on packaging with using different names as well. So if you don't want to kind of pay attention too much to the grams, look at the ingredients and make sure that sugar isn't towards the top of the list.
Tajjeb ħafna, u fil-fatt inti tissemmi it-sokkor u processed food, which we know, għaliex we listen to podcast and read, leads to inflammation. Xi tfisser inflammation?
Okay, so inflammation is actually a natural response of our body. So for example, if you get a sore throat or a swollen ankle, that is your body getting inflamed in order to repair itself, right? What happens when we talk about too much inflammation, what's happening there is kind of your body working against you, having an exaggerated response than it should have. And then that leads to disease, right? If you had to ask me what causes inflammation, I would say we can start from food, but then there are many other things which come into the picture, such as stress, such as how well you sleep, such as lack of exercise. So ask yourself, But yes, the general understanding and the general belief in studies at the moment is that inflammation leads to chronic disease, such as cancers, such as heart disease, and all of the above.
U kollox li mbagħad dementia, Alzheimer's, dan kollha huma ġejjin mill-istess familja biex infhemu sew.
Yes, because it causes shrinkage of the brain, especially when we're talking about sugar.
Why is sugar so bad?
Okay, so sugar causes inflammation, which causes shrinkage of the brain, and can result in diseases such as Alzheimer's and dementia, which is becoming a massive problem. What else does sugar do? So it slows your metabolism. It doesn't allow you to burn fat as you should normally. It causes hormonal imbalances. It feeds cancer cells. So There are a lot of reasons that sugar
to be
is
fair,
bad.
we can't omit sugar.
No, I
100%. Għax inti ħassibu preżenti fi frott,
Yes.
f'kollox.
When we're talking, we're talking about mainly sugar that you find in ultra-processed foods, right? So obviously natural sugars are going to be better than...
There's still sugars.
They're still sugars, but they're going to be better than...
Xorta ħajkollok il-sugar spike,
Eva, sure to have an
spike.
insulin spike, Eva.
Eżatt.
Then it's a matter of being realistic and being balanced, as you said, the 80-20. But if you're going to pick between blueberries and, a very sugary sweet,
Mux hekk.
it's a different kind of...
Eżatt, u batem ċertu antioxidants u hekk li sibu
Exactly.
fil-frott li inti ħatu benefiċċji oħra minnhom.
Exactly.
Physical health u mental health kollha ġejjin mill-gatt. Din hija xi ħaġa li jenna nisimgħu il-gatt huwa qisu s-center ta' kollox.
Yes.
Issa l-gatt irid ikun b'saħħtu wkoll. U jkun b'saħħtu b'nuqqas ta' stress u hekk imma bl-ikel ukoll.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking, I guess, about the gut microbiome, which...
Xi tfisser?
Okay, so the gut microbiome, first of all, it's also considered another organ nowadays. It's something that previously we didn't really consider as an organ, but now we are. What is it? It's millions and millions of bacteria which fuel the body systems to work the way that they should work, which feed the body system. So they make the brain work, they make the body work. So the way that we can look at it is it's like an internal garden, right? Which you need to weed out the bad bacteria and you need to seed with good bacteria and then you need to feed the good bacteria. So if you had to ask me kind of what is good for the gut and what is not good for the gut, what is good for the gut is whole foods, obviously whole foods and fiber. Right? And probiotics and that sort of thing. When you're talking about what is not good for the gut and what damages these bacteria, which many people don't know about, is, for example, a lot of anti-inflammatory pills or antibiotics or acid blockers, which we do. Even me, myself, when I was younger, you just say, okay, I have a headache, I'm going to take this. Okay, I have acid reflux, I'm going to take this. And you don't really think, what could it be doing to
Ma
me?
nafux.
No, we don't know. So it's good, that we tell people. I think also in Malta we have a lot of this, or I see it a lot with my friends and family, that if they're sick, they're very fast to take a pill without knowing exactly what it's going to do, So I would say if you're going to take antibiotics, because sometimes you have to, perhaps take something or speak to your doctor to prescribe you a probiotic that you can take to protect the good bacteria, because if you're damaging your gut bacteria, that's going to affect the other systems of the body eventually.
Imma jekk issegwi dawn il-protokolls kollha li qed issemmi, ġifieri a good diet, movement, which is vital at the end of the day, sleep, managing stress, għax aħna ma nistax ngħidu dak li jkun, ma nistax li kollok stress fil-ħajja, stress huwa parti minna.
Yes.
So aħna what we need is coping skills biex l-istress nitalmu nikkontrollaw. Din hija katina ta' affarijiet, ġieri mhux ħanajt isma' nibdel id-dieta biss.
Yes.
Hija katina ta' ħafna. Kieku ħalli nistaqsik, ma' nies li taħdem inti, x'in l-iktar ħaġa underestimated li forsi ma nagħtux każ?
How to relax. How to relax. So I work with an interdisciplinary team, meaning I'm brought in on a lot of cases where mental health is a challenge. It could be anything like small, kind of anxiety or my depression, to things which are a bit more complicated. And I'm usually brought into the picture to support the other professionals because we're an interdisciplinary team. And we work together towards that person's better health. Most of the time, what we see, is people who don't know how to switch off. So people who have insomnia, people who have headaches, people who forgot what it means to have a hobby, people who take care too much of the people around them but not enough of themselves. De-stressing and relaxation is the thing that
L-iktar ħaġa.
that we see most.
Jiena nifhem tali, inti kollok problema f'xi ħaġa minnhom. Jien minn l-exercise jgħidli pereżempju m'għandix ċans għall-exercise. Aw minn ma jorqodx, ġifieri aħna bħalissa qed nisimgħu ħafna jien inkollu nistressja fuq l-irqat, imma jekk tiġini lejl fejn qed inħossni ansjuża u qed ninkwieta ma norqodx. Tista' mhux tgħidli. Ġifieri l-struggles jesistu dejjem, imma jien li nipprova ngħid huwa li ssib nies li jgħinuk biex tagħmel l-affarijiet aħjar, pereżempju, għaw ħafna affarijiet li tista' tagħmel jekk wieħed ma jorqodx, tista' tieħu showers qabel, tieqaf mit-teknoloġija ftit ħin sew qabel ma
sleep hygiene.
Eżatt. Jiġifieri kważi illum għal kollox hawn soluzzjoni. Jiġi jekk semmejna dawn il-pillars li huma importanti ħafna u inti qed bagħti f'xi ħaġa minnhom. Għal kollox hawn, imma kieku kellek tagħti parir lil xi ħadd minn fejn ħeqbad jibda għaliex ġieli jekk inti qed tisma' dan il-podcast u qed tgħid mamma mija nisma' dik tiġi daqsxejn overwhelmed.
Yes, for sure, yes.
Imma kieku kellek qed niltaqa' miegħek jiena ngħidlek isma' minn fejn ħanibda.
I think we're programmed to go big or go home. So our New Year's resolutions, we start off really big. By February, we're giving up before we even started because the task is so daunting, you know. I think it's really important to start small and to build up slowly on that, even if it means I do one push-up before my shower every day, and then you build up on that. So if you had to tell me, but if you had to specifically ask me one place to start that I feel would make a difference, it's self-care when it comes to food. So being just a bit more aware about what you're nourishing your body with, you know, because what you're eating is giving your body information to switch on or off specific genes and for your body to work better or otherwise. So I would say be more mindful about what you're eating.
L-ħar ħaġa nixtieq nistaqsik hija jista' is-saħħa mentali tiġi mejjuna bil-functional medicine?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, as I'm sure you know and many of the viewers know, the body and the mind are connected and are one. So whatever affects one affects the other, right? And as I said, working in this interdisciplinary team, the other professionals are psychiatrists or counselors, and they bring me in as a health coach whenever we have a case of a person who has a mental health challenge, you know, which happens to all of us. So and we focus on all of the areas in functional medicine to support that person to create goals, and we create a plan with them to improve their health and move kind of one step closer towards their optimal health, body and mind.
Ġifieri vera importanti. Jien ħobb nagħti dal-eżempju minn nistaqsini jgħidli imma għaliex dak li kellx fih ħażin. Jien dejjem ngħidilhom ikkoreġini jekk sejra żball, ngħidilhom provu ġurnata. Kull li sellit bħala lunch u wara x'inhuma l-effetti wara. Jon kella l-għada kull pizza jew burger, mhux qed ngħid li pizza jew burger ħażin ta' ma jridu jkunu limitati bħala lunch u għajdli kif tħossok wara. Aħna nafu li meta persuna tagħmel operazzjoni tingħata soppa biex il-ġisem ma jkunx irid jaħdem daqshekk biex jiddiġerixxi l-ikel imma jikkonċentra li jaħdem biex jiħili għall-ġisem. Allura l-ikel dak huwa l-effett li jagħmel fuqna u dak li qed tinti huwa kollu fil-fatt dak.
And when you become more aware of it, it becomes easier to make certain decisions because, and as you said, right, 80-20, so it could be that on a weekend you might have a cheat meal and you have that burger or that pizza or whatever, and then you see how you feel after. Però once you get more and more aware about how you feel when you eat certain things, it becomes easier to take certain decisions because you're more in tune with yourself.
Jiena inħobb ngħidu probabbli min qed jisma' jgħidu ma inti esaġerazzjoni u hekk jiena ma kontx hekk u nbidilt biżmien. Imma kif qed nisimgħek titkellem, jekk ikolli nieħu burger u jiena ġieli nieħu burger, jien nażel li nieħdu pereżempju Friday night għax inkunu ħanoqogħdu d-dar u nista' norqod. Illum ġismi tant dara li jekk għandi ħafna xogħol mhux ħanieħu burger għax naf li ħanoħsni għajjiena wara. Jiġifieri li rrid ngħidu biex ma taqtax qalbek. U tibda tisma' lilek innifsek għax imbagħad isu ġismek waħdu ħajorik. Fimt ġifieri u inti tmur għal ċertu għażliet. U functional medicine diki. Jien nixtieq ngħidlek proset, kienet interessanti ħafna, ħadd piċir nisimgħek titkellem U proset iktar tal-li joġbok tieħu din it-triq għaliex żgur li ħatkun qed taraf lil ħafna nies fuq dan functional medicine li jista' jgħin il-ħafna nies.
Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me a platform to talk about it.
Proset ħafna u ħankompli nippromovi x-xogħol li tagħmel u grazzi ħafna tal-li kont magħna. Wasalna fit-tmiem ta' podcast ieħor, grazzi ħafna tal-li joġobkom isseguna, jekk taħsbu li hemm xi ħadd li jista' jieħu xi informazzjoni li ħatamillu ġid minn dan il-podcast dejjem nitolbukom biex titlu fuq il-social media channels tagħna aħna qegħdin fuq Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube jew titlu fuq Instagram jew anka Facebook jew mill-link għal dawn il-social channels kollha. Grazzi ħafna u nistidnukom biex tinaqdu magħna għal podcast ieħor dal-waqt.